Okay. All right, here we go. We're gonna go live on Facebook. Ready?
Yes, sure. You look beautiful.
You look beautiful. Okay, go live. Ready? Okay, fantastic. Let's try it. Let's just make sure that it's...
You're really professional. I have to learn from you.
Well, you're making a video, aren't you? You're making a documentary, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
I'm
we want to
gonna
hear
make
about
my first documentary.
Okay, here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
And we are live. Okay.
Yes.
So let me just quickly write out what this is. This is I'm chatting with Faravaz Farvardini, who was sentenced to a year in prison for singing. Here, prison in Iran. Okay. Okay, now she's telling her story. Now she is. Okay, great. Okay, let's get started. Right.
Okay. Should I tell about myself or should I tell about my documentary? Which one you want to know?
Okay, first let's introduce you, because people on my feed probably have likely not heard of you. Okay, so first, please tell us about you, Faravaz, who I'm so happy to have met.
For me, the same. For me, really the same. I'm really happy to talk to you. And because whole of my life, my government scared me to talk to you guys. For people everyone who lives in Israel, who has any connection with Israel. And I'm happy I'm finally free. And I have the right on my body and on who I want to talk with. And
yay, because we know that if women were running these things, we would we probably wouldn't be enemies. Okay,
yeah, exactly.
Our country's trying to make us enemies and we're saying no. We are saying no.
And every day in the morning at school, we have to stand and say death on Israel and death on America. We are forced to do it. And always I've been thinking like, why? What's the reason? And I don't like it, you know? And always I was thinking like, I want to show it. We people, especially we're women, we have no problem. We love each other. If we can, we care about each other and we would help each other. And this is a good chance for me to knowing you and your audience and to show to show my feelings about you. And people are in your country for sure. And
yay!
Yes.
Can you say how amazing that is? That's amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thanks, social media.
Okay, so Faravaz, tell me, you're a singer. Yes. So first, tell me about your singing career. Tell me about how you became a singer, why you became a singer, what you like to sing.
I've been playing guitar when I was a teenage. And the problem first was my dad always told me like the girls should not play guitar, and you should like maybe play some tradition music. Guitar is for men, it's so poppy and something like that. But I was too stubborn and brave, I think. I started to learn my guitar, and then I started to sing slowly. I was writing sometimes on in some magazine or something like that. And then slowly, I started to produce my own music. And I started to do some small concert on some cafe or some underground concert, because women are not allowed to have concert. We have to sing. When we want to sing, we have to be a core group, or we have to be three women or 3 person, because the voice should mix. Otherwise, if you can hear each of the woman voice separately, it can make you horny, they say. you know, and it's
I'm
something,
very familiar, yes.
it's something erotic, and then it's haram. It's like something forbidden. And then after that, I was like, okay, I'm singing. I do whatever I want. I don't earn money. I wear my hijab in my music video, and hopefully nothing will happen for me. But after 2-3 music video I published, and my songs got published, after that, after sometimes I got I've been waiting for a letter or two, people who come and harass me, always, whole of my life. And finally I got the letter about I have to go to the court, and they want to meet me, and they're looking for me. And then after all, I just went there, and they told me, you are like criminal, you do some crime stuff, you make and approve other women to do something bad, to do something erotic, and because of that, we're gonna persecute you. And that time I put some bills, I could come out of the jail and look for how I can run away from my country. And this is really painful, because you have to first apologize, mullah, because you sang, you know. I've been crying, and I was telling him sorry and apologize. I did that, but in my brain I knew I did something good for my people, for my culture, and for my music,
and for life, and for beauty, and for art, and for the world.
Exactly.
Your singing and your beautiful voice and your passion, you know, and your creativity, you're bringing beautiful things into the world.
Yeah, and in 1 second, you was like, he told me like, you are a whore, and only whore would sing and publish them voice. You don't have any family or parents. You are lots of bad things. And, you know, in one moment, I just believed I did something bad. I knew I did not something bad, but how he treated me, I've believed in like I'm a bad person and I did something bad. And I was such a dependent person to my country. I loved my country, and I was a really family person, but I been forced to leave. I was invited by one festival in Germany. I just left and I stayed here. It was such a hard days. It was so hard, this depression and anxiety. The psychologists sometimes said after death of your close family, immigration is on the second level, because it's so hard, especially when you don't decide for your immigration, when you have to leave and you don't have the time to say goodbye to your family and to the people you love.
Who did you leave behind in Iran?
My family and my husband and like everyone.
Your husband didn't come with you?
He could not in that time, because from Iran it's so hard to get a visa. They don't give us the visa because they think when we come, we don't come back. Oh. Yeah, it was so hard. And the hardest part.
Has anybody from your family joined you since, or you're still alone?
No, I could not see no one till now. It's 4 years. And
really
and
hard.
The hardest thing is, you know, when they die, you cannot be there. You know, in the hardest time, you cannot be there with them, and it's so hard. And but
I'm so sorry. And then you have to start all over. And you started.
Yeah, and I got so, like, I was so depressed, and I got hard anxiety. And because when the women, this is really common, you know, when women are in Iran, they think we will immigrate, we will sing, we go on stage, but after immigration, nothing is for you ready. Nobody want to do anything for you, you know, and you have to fight for being alive, to getting the asylum, and to get food, to, you know, to find a place to live, and you will forget your dream. You know, it's so hard to live in such a, it's like born baby in a new country without having a mom who would take care of you, you know. And then
How did you get to Germany?
I was invited by one festival in Germany. I had a concert.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
And then what, you just stayed?
yeah, then I stayed. Yes, exactly.
Wow.
But the problem is in Europe, still singing for female Iranian female singer is not a case for being refugee. They don't accept us.
Oh.
Yeah. Because they say you would not, nobody forced you to sing. This is crime in your country, and you should not do it. You know.
Which is, of course, you know, for a singer to not be able to sing,
Yeah,
that's like, it's like not being able to speak.
exactly.
You know, it's like it's expression. It's your expression. It's your communication with the world.
Yeah.
You know, and it's who you are. It's you know.
And exactly, I think we have to fight about this because singing for women still is not it's not registered as a censorship, you know. And I'm working on it, and I hope I can change it. And
it's so interesting because I just want to point out that, you know, the people calling for bans on singing, and in Judaism we have that too. We have groups that don't allow women to sing, you know, so they are very, very, you know, incensed about women singing, like it's the biggest thing in the world, you know, because, like, you know, God forbid women should do something that feels, you know, sensual to other people. Like, that's like, oh my God, you're like violating the law, you know, the the world order by daring to have passion. So for those men who are outlawing it, singing is everything, you know. But then when a woman wants to say, yes, you know what, singing is everything, the world is like, it's nothing. What's a big deal? It's nothing. Why sing anything to you?
And when I write about right to sing, because I own a campaign, the name is Right to Sing. And when I started to talk about the problem, everyone was like, it's not a big problem. We have so many more problems in our country. And like, people are dying because they want to be a singer. So many women are 50 years are at home, and they are under attack by government because they were singing 50 years ago. And how we can be ignorant and just not seeing them, how it's possible.
Yeah. And I'd like to see one man who sings be told he's not allowed to ever sing, ever. Like,
Never.
Never. It would never happen. A man who says, I want to sing, the world says, yes, embrace it. How amazing. You know, what a wonderful contribution to humanity, this man singing. And for a woman, it's like, well, let's make sure that, you know, no one's going to get too like upset about it. And by
can you believe we'll have lots of we have lots of like festivals or manager or producer out of Iran, and they all want to work, Iranian one, I mean, they all only want to work with men. Why? Because lots of men coming from Iran to Europe for having concert. And if they do concert for me as a woman and as a feminist, then maybe it will be problematic for those guys who want to return to Iran. And because of that, they're shutting me down here too. You know, it's like crazy.
No. So wait a second. So tell us about your life in Germany now. Have you built a career as an Iranian singer in Germany?
Yes, I'm doing.
I mean, I saw that beautiful. I just want to say I saw that amazing video. I saw 2 videos of you that you shared with me. One of them I shared down here of you singing, which is fantastic. I just want to say you have a beautiful voice and a beautiful presence, and wow. Okay, so anything you want to share, any other clips of you singing, please do. Please share here.
Sure, I will do it. And the name of the song is Fatwa. The fatwa in Islamic country is like a law, but the creator were like the mullah. It's not a real law. you know,
Mhm.
and they can change it anytime they want. They can say
It's like a
singing
decree.
is,
It's like an edict, like a decree, like a
it never written nowhere, and they can say,
Uh-huh.
now I decide women should not sing, you know,
Mhm.
or now I decide like you should not drink, I don't know, orange juice, you know. They can say whatever they want. And singing, not, I mean, like banning voice it was never in the law book, but they forbid it for 45 years already without any
Oh,
rights. And then we
yeah.
sang the song with Justina, my rapper friend, because we had both the same story and the same past, you know.
She's the
Uh,
one who shaved her head on the camera,
yes, yes,
Justine. Mhm.
Justina,
She's
yeah.
also very powerful. She has a slightly different style than you. She's like,
Yes, yes, she
yeah.
is. She is.
Can you just say, I just want to understand this. It was a fatwa from only 45 years ago, meaning that, and how old are you? Can I ask you how old you are?
I'm 31 year old
Uh-huh.
already. And 45 years ago in Iran, we had a revolution.
Yeah.
We
The
had
Shah.
King Shah, and then after Mullah came, and we changed to Islamic Republic.
Mhm.
And
So
then,
that's when the fatwa came about the singing. In other words, it wasn't before then. So I just want to say that's really interesting because a similar pattern, I think, has taken place in Judaism also. So I'm 52. So when I was growing up and I went to a religious school, girls sang. We sang. I belonged to a girls' choir in elementary school, and in high school, girls got up on stage. I think in the school that I went to, it's sort of a modern religious school. I think sometimes girls still can sing, but for the most part, around the religious world, Jewish religious world, we've definitely seen a radicalization in ideas about women over the last 45 years as well. I can't point to a revolution. I can't say, oh, well, this is the moment that somebody radical took over. Like that didn't happen in the Jewish world. We're not centralized that way. But definitely, and there's been a lot written about this, about how ideas about women have gotten much worse, and they've gotten over the last even 10 or 15 years. We now live in a time when women's faces are erased from public spaces, where even now women's names in certain places, in certain communities, not all communities, but like the most radical, women's names can't even be printed. You can't even print a quote by a woman and mention her by name. And like, so here in Israel, there was a lawsuit. My friend Hannah Katzman was leading this lawsuit against IKEA because IKEA produced a catalog without showing any women. So they showed all these like all male families in their catalog, So now it's different from Iran because it's not the government doing it, right? And especially now, since last year, it's the first time in like 30 years that the religious parties aren't in the coalition, even though religious parties typically make up 25 to 30% of the Knesset, of our parliament. And in previous years, when the religious parties were in the government, there were always all kinds of pressures on the government, to run events, and municipalities and government have in the past run events without women singing, without women appearing. There are stories in Jerusalem where they were supposed to have dancers, and some religious groups came and covered up the dancers. Or there was a time in the Knesset when Ruby Rivlin, he just finished being president. Before he was president, he was Knesset speaker, and when he was speaker of the Knesset, he did not allow the Knesset choir to sing because he didn't want to offend the religious, parties. And there are all kinds of events in the education ministry that have, segregated events, separate men and women, where women don't get up. There are organizations that run women's fertility conferences with no women speakers, where women are not allowed to talk, and where women are like, if they're there, they're in another room or all the way in the back where they can't be seen. So we have this problem also. So first of all, we have the problem in Judaism, that religious Judaism has definitely gotten more and more extreme about these issues over the last 20, 30 years, gradually. And also, and also that in Israel, sometimes when the government makes these demands, then it's like offensive, to everyone. When the Jerusalem municipality refused to let women's faces appear on ads in Jerusalem, that was, the government doing something that was very, misogynistic and appealing to the most radical religious ideas and forces. But Israel, to Israel's credit, we're not Iran, and we haven't sent women to prison for singing, so we haven't experienced that. But it is interesting to see that there are comparable trends of religious factions becoming more religious and becoming more religious on the backs of women, that they use, women's bodies as an expression of what it means to be religious. Yeah. So that, I think, is really interesting.
Yes, okay. Yes, it is. And something we have in common, because before this 45 years, we were the same. We had the mullah and the Islamic, really hard Islamist people, the same, but they didn't have the power like now. Just imagine one of those people you're talking about become a president, then you cannot control it. All the control now you guys have.
But I just want to tell you, Ruby Rivlin isn't religious. He isn't even religious. What he was doing, he was bowing to the religious groups. He was, appealing. He was appeasing. It was like a form of appeasement and Jerusalem, when Jerusalem was making all these anti-women rules, no women in advertising, no women in the, on the website and things like that. Jerusalem's mayor was also secular. It was Nir Barkat at the time, who's a secular guy. And that's the crazy thing, it's the crazy thing about how you have these like secular politicians who think that in order to appeal to the people, they have to do the most, radical anti-women things, because the religious parties count and women don't, because the religious parties, their constituency, their power is important. Women, who are we? We're nothing. We're not a political party. Women don't have any political strength. We don't vote as a bloc. We don't, protest as a bloc. We're nothing. We don't have any political power, so we don't matter. But it's
do women have the right to protest on the street or do something like that? They have the right.
Yeah. So during the height of the gender segregation issues and all of these issues, that was around 2011, 2012, 2013, like those years, there were a lot of protests. And what became more effective than the protests were the lawsuits. Bless you.
Thank you.
They were the most powerful protests were legal protests. And there were a bunch of different feminist organizations that were taking all of these things to court. Women like Ricky Shapiro, and Iraq, and Kolech. They were like these different organizations. Orly Erez Lechovsky also was leading. She's a lawyer. Like these are different. And Neely Phillip also. She's one of the women who she had rocks thrown on. There have been violent incidents also in Israel, where like women who were on the wrong side. They were, where there was supposed to be gender segregation. One of the big things was that the religious groups were saying that women have to walk on that side of the street and men have to walk on that side of the street, or women can only come to the health clinic at this time of the day, and if they come, they have to wear cover and all of that. So that was happening in a lot of cities, including Beit Shemesh. And so, for instance, Neely Phillip, who just recently became a lawyer, she was hit in the head by a rock for walking on the wrong, bicycling, I think, yeah. So she brought a lawsuit along with a class action lawsuit. So those have been really the most effective, is the lawsuits. So because that has like changed what's allowed. So that's been one really, really important protection. And the protests also help. The protests have also like raised awareness and made people angry, which is really important, to get people like angry about this stuff, not like, oh, well, what's the big deal, what happens over there in Beit Shemesh and Jerusalem, that's not a big deal. We hear that also. It's like, oh, it's their culture, don't wake a sleeping bear, it's their culture, the religious people, let them have that. It's like, no.
Culture never could not be something like that, for sure. What kind of culture it is, When they say hijab is culture of Iran, we say how forcing women to do something could be a culture. you know, this is not a culture. And
Are you in touch with a lot of the women still in Iran? Like,
yeah,
how is it over there?
Sure. All of my friends are in Iran, yeah, especially the female singers, yeah.
And how are they doing?
They're doing really bad. They're doing really bad. And, you know, the unfortunately, women in Iran cannot protest because when they start, they do something really small. One woman just recovered the hijab from her hair and just stand on the street with a white cloth. That's it. And she got like 20 years jail sentences.
Oh my God.
It's like,
oh my God.
You can't do anything. Like 2 years ago, people protested against benzene price because it was in one night triple the prices. And they killed in 2 days, they shut down the internet and they killed 1,500 people on the street. And nobody talk about this. Nobody knows, you know?
No, I had no idea.
Like 1,500 people they killed in 2 days. You mean much more than the people now dying in Ukraine, you know, much more, but nobody care. And only in 2 days. And I think the responsibility, I have to just raising them voice, because nobody listen to us, nobody wanna listen to us. You know, they are just some special people. It's like when we say Middle East matter too, you know, like if I don't know if you saw or not, but some journalists on internet and TV in last 2-3 days, they told this war is in Europe. They are educated people. They are not refugees and stupid people and poor people like Afghanistan. So many people thought like this, you know? And I just want, the things I would love to do is just say, we have so many singers, they are so talented, and people in the world should know what kind of pressure is on them and how they live and how it's hard for them to be alive, to work on music, and they need support.
They need support.
They need support. Yeah.
They need support. Like what the world is now doing for Ukraine. You're saying that if only the world were doing that for the women of Iran.
Today, I just see in parliament when somebody from Russia was talking and all the politicians left the salon, you know, and a politician of other countries. And I was like, wow, why nobody did this for my country? Why, when they killed 15,000 people on the street, why nobody left when they were talking? You know, but I can't understand because the media really hide it, you know, hide what's happening there. And I think somebody say, how we can help, what should we do? And always I say, just talk about us. Just be our voice. This is the most important things we need to world just see us, you know, because we are like, they hiding us. We are like censor, you know. First step we need is like to being visible, you know.
Visible, just to tell the story.
Yes, exactly.
So how many women do you think, how many women have been sentenced to jail for things like singing?
Like most of the time they scare them, they like prosecute them, they bring them to the court, you know. It's like, I think they don't put so many women for singing into the jail, they just bring them, they go and back just to the court because they want to just burn the golden age of singing for those people, you know.
What would happen if you went back to Iran now?
They would kill me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because I'm like fighting against them and talking about them. And second, I told I'm an atheist. When you change your religion from Islam to other religions, they are allowed to kill you.
Oh my God. So your religion is officially artist? That's your religion?
I'm atheist. I'm an
Oh, atheist.
atheist. Atheist. I don't believe in any religious or God.
Oh, and is your family also in danger?
It could be, yes, and they can come to any country of Europe or US and kidnap you, like they did to 500 people till now in these 40 years. They kidnapped 500 people from other countries.
And what they do with them after they kidnap them?
They just bring them to the TV and tell, you should say apologize, you should speak against yourself, and then they execute them, all of them.
Oh my God. So people who are found, all who have left Iran and are discovered in all kinds of other countries can be kidnapped, forced on television to apologize, and then executed?
Yes,
and
exactly.
That happened to 500 people in the last 2 years?
Because they want to like say, we are powerful, we bring her back, we put her on the TV and we killed them, you know.
Are they all women? Hold on, those 500 people are all women?
No, all women, no, not all of them are women. They are all women and men, both. But then I say, we are nowhere safe. We are not safe. Nowhere. Nowhere.
Are you scared in Germany? Are you scared of being kidnapped?
I think sometimes about this, but the thing, I think they want I scared, you know, and stay silent. They want this. And for me, it's like I left my everything. I left everything I loved in my country, you know, and I have nothing to lose. And the only things makes me alive is fighting. And if they want to do, if they want to do anything, they can do it, you know, but I will not stop what I'm doing.
Wow. Yeah. So first of all, wow, you know, kudos to you on your incredible courage and bravery. I really want to, you know, really shout you out for that. And okay, let's talk about your project, right? Because what you said, we want to talk about what you're doing for this purpose, which is creating a documentary.
Yes, I'm just turning on my lights and coming back. Okay, I'm here.
Okay, let's talk about your documentary.
Yes, it's a documentary about right to sing, and I would love to talk about the issue and the problem we have in Iran about female singers, and I would love to travel and see other female singers who can be or who could be a singer, and being singer is normal. Like, you as a woman, you can call, because in my country you cannot call yourself, like when they say what's your job, you cannot say I'm singer, because then they say, okay, where do you sing? It's not allowed to sing. And then just want to show to people in my country they have the right, because you know, sometimes when they don't let you do what you want, you forget it and you think really you don't have the right and this is not for you. You know, just want to show them other women in other countries, they are normal, they are singing and they earning money with singing, and this is normal to do whatever you love. First of all,
you should come to Israel. Definitely come to Israel. Sure. We have lots of amazing women singers. We have, you know, 2 years ago, Netta Barzilai won the Eurovision, the Israeli singer. You know, so Israel women, you know, singing for the whole world. We have lots of really fun. Yeah, you should come here, and I'll take you around. We'll go to, you know, concerts, and
sure. I would appreciate
and also that. You know, and also even in the religious world, also there are women who sing. There are, you know, religious women who choose to you know, abide by the religious rules, as it were, and sing only for women. There's a famous woman named Eti Ankri who used to be a big singer, and she still is sort of a big singer, but she became religious. And since she became religious, she only performs in front of women, and she wears, you know, a lot of body cover and things like that.
Then we have in Israel some concerts only for women.
There are concerts only for
Do we
women.
have
Yeah.
it? Okay, because we have it too interesting.
So so that's allowed in Iran? A woman singing for other women is allowed?
Yeah, they can sing for women, but it's not easy, but yes, they can.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so at least that, you know, I guess,
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's tricky, you know, to sort of be a religious woman is a tricky thing, because, you know, to be a woman, you know, trying to, this is your life, this is your community, this is your culture, these are your people, and you want to be part of that. So you want to abide by those rules at the
Yeah.
same time that you want to also live fully and express yourself and be who you are.
Exactly.
And it's complicated, and religious women face complicated choices.
Yes,
You know,
because you know, when every day you eat hummus, you don't know what is salad. You know, when they every day see they cannot sing and nobody sing around them, they just start to forget them dreams, you know. And when we show them they can be a star, then it will change for them. And the second, we want to give to some female singers of other countries the information about what's happening for the people. They look like them, they sing like them, they have a nice voice like them, but they were just born in a wrong place, you know. And we want to tell them they have something and they think this is normal and this is their right, but lots of women doesn't have this right, you know. And we want to build the sympathy between them, because I think the only things now we can do is sympathy, you know, just telling like, we see you and we know what's happening to you, and we do whatever we can. You know, this is already really heartwarming. And I'm sure so many young women in Iran who has the dream to become a star or a singer or being on stage, for sure will get lots of power and lots of energy and it's lots of idea.
So how can I help you right now, here with, you know, what can I say to my Facebook followers, or my Facebook friends that would be helpful to you?
Yes.
Or what do you want to say is what I should be asking? That
I
what
want
do you want to say?
Yes.
Yeah.
First of all, if they know any singer who would like to talk about this, I would really appreciate that. Second, if they can, however, help female singers of Iran, just talking about them, writing about them, anything they can do, it's a nice thing, anything, still if it's really small. And the third thing, maybe it could be nice if I could get some information about how they break the issue for themselves. I mean, women in Israel, because I know for sure before it was much harder for them to be a singer till compare with now, you know. I mean, they changed something. I want to know what's happened, and do they
Like
have
religious women, like if there were any sort of religious Israeli women or Jewish women out there who used to not sing in front of men and kept those rules, and then made a change and started to sing in front of men.
Exactly.
That would be a really interesting story for you to include in your documentary, and to sort of look at that journey, what that journey is, you know, to sort of break free from all of that language and all of those rules and all of that stuff. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. There are some really interesting religious women singing.
But they are still religious or not anymore?
Well, you know, I'm going to give a little shout out to Deborah McNanny Bailey, who a couple of months ago started posting about her sister, videos of her sister making these like super cool videos that were all women, all religious women singing. you know, and she writes all this stuff, really cool stuff. And I'm sorry, Deborah, I don't know your sister's name. I don't remember, but I just remember you sharing those videos and thinking like, how cool is that? And here's a woman who's sort of, you know, playing with boundaries, you know, sort of like in the system, you know, keeping the rules, but at the same time, figuring out how to still express the creativity, you know, be that creative being. So, you know, she might be interesting for you to talk to. Sorry, I'm saying this sort of like live public without even talking to her, asking her first, but it just, that's what came to mind for me. I have another friend in Efrat, who I'm thinking of also, Yael Valier Goldstein, who also might be watching, I don't know. And she runs a theater group. She ran I don't know if it's still happening. There was an all women's theater group, and they used to put on all kinds of plays, very often for, you know, all women singing, and all women acting, all women directing, and then all women and producing, and then all women, a lot of times all women audiences. So I don't know, Yael, if she's still doing that, because now she's moved on to different style of theater. But that also is interesting, you know, women who, again, within the rules of the community that they belong to and want to belong to, test the boundaries and find ways to still be, you know, creative, singing creative. So so I think that's a super interesting project for you to connect women's stories, finding the women who, it's not exactly the same, you know, like I said, you know, Israel, thank God, is not arresting women for doing this stuff. And, you know, certainly not like women are not afraid of, you know, what's going to happen to them legally if they break the rules. You know, what there are other fears, but it's not Iran. What's happening in Iran is crazy. I mean, 500 executions in the past 2 years of people who left, and all these women who are being, you know, taken to prison or threatened with being sent to prison for singing or for removing the hijab. I mean, that's crazy, and that is something that everybody outside Iran, I say we as if like I'm representing everyone outside Iran, but like, yeah, people outside Iran need to care about. It's like, we really need to be caring about this, like you said as well. So so I'm gonna reach out to some people that, and what else? So,
and something is important, we show to the West people what kind of points they have. You know, they have to see it, they have something, and some women, they don't have it, you know. I mean, when we see it, the world will change, you know. And thank you again.
My pleasure.
Yes, for having me. Yeah, exactly. Sisterhood is the most important, for, I think. Can save the world, I think. Now only sisterhood can, because brotherhood could not, you know.
Brotherhood made wars.
Exactly.
It's up to the sisterhood to stop the wars, really.
Exactly.
Faravaz, I really do feel like I met a sister in you, you know, that we you know, like we share a vision about how women should be able to live, how people should be able to live, and, you know, what kind of changes we need in our own cultures and communities. You know, is there something else we can do to help you in terms of like your own situation? And is there anything else you would like from the world?
I would love to one day sing in Israel. I would appreciate that. This is what I really love to do it one day, for sure. Anytime,
that would be the funnest thing ever, to bring you to Israel to sing. Oh, we can make like a concert, you know, like a oh, okay.
This will be in my dream list now.
Oh, on your bucket list, singing in Israel. Okay, putting it on my bucket list too, for Faravaz to sing in Israel. It's on my bucket list too.
Yeah, and you will be host of the show for sure.
Yay! It would be super fun. Okay, so continue. Do you have any links to share? Is there any like crowdfunding page or anything to?
Yes, I have I have a website. They can go to the website, and it's a box for supporting Right to Sing.
Great. I would love
And
for those links, and I'll put them in the thread here.
for sure, I will.
Awesome. Faravaz, it was so great meeting you. And
Yeah, for
your
me to
story
say, today became a really good day with meeting you and talking to you. And thank you, everyone who will listen to us and would feel for us and try to help.
To be continued. This is just the beginning.
Yes, exactly. And then I will be wait for you too to tell me the things what we can do.
Great.
Great.
Exciting. Okay, Faravaz.
Yes.
To be continued. How do you say
Elana,
goodbye?
you have such a beautiful hair, such a beautiful, nice heart, and beautiful smile. And I'm proud of you.
Oh, wow.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
We are in contact. Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Yes. Bye.
For sure. Bye.